about 5 o'clock. That way you will make it back downtown. That last trolley leaves from stop 1 where we're at 5 and is due back usually about 6:45. Trolleys run every 25 to 35 minutes. Sometimes traffic dictates that. The state employees are getting off as we speak now. So sometimes trolleys tend to run more closer to the 40-minute side. Now straight ahead of us is Riverfront Park and Riverfront Station. This one looks like a broken roller coaster. It's actually artwork. It is by the Machine Works of Nashville. Nashville has 1% that is commissioned that goes towards artwork. This is one of the pieces amongst several pieces that you'll see if you continue to tour today with me. I'll name each of the pieces and his artist. This is by Alice Aycock and it's called Ghost Ballet. On the left-hand side, we have the home of the Tennessee Titans and the Tennessee State University football team. They actually co-shared the Nissan Stadium there. The Titans arrived in Tennessee in 1996 and were once playing in the city of Memphis. The very next year, they were due to arrive in 97 at this once LP field here to open up the season. But that stadium was destroyed by a tornado in 1997, and it delayed them where they played at Vanderbilt for that season. In front of us and on top of us is the John Singing Dollar Bridge. This once operated as the Shelby Street Bridge up until 1996. They closed it for vehicle traffic and then after site renovations opened it up for what's considered to be one of the longest pedestrian bridges. This is the first bridge in the U.S. to be built with arched concrete trusses, and John Siegenthaler was a civil rights activist that stopped the suicide attempt on that bridge. On the left-hand side, we have Riverfront Park. Inside of Riverfront Park is downtown Nashville's first dog park. Now this art piece is on the left-hand side here. It's called Light Meander, and it represents the meandering curves of the Cumberland River as it passes through Davidson County. Also to the left, you'll notice the Ascend Amphitheater. They opened up Ascend up last year in May, and the first to perform there was Eric Church. Ascend replaces the Starwood Amphitheater that was built in the suburban area of Nashville. Is the Bell Tower. The Bell Tower nowadays is owned by Brett James, but prior to Brett James owning it, it operated as the St. Paul's A&B Episcopal Church, and it was built 6 months after the Civil War by freed slaves. Straight ahead of us is more artwork. That constellation is called Styx. It's 27 70-foot hardwood native poles that pays homage to the Native Americans that once thrived in Middle Tennessee. So on the left-hand side is the Music City Center. This is a 16-acre convention center, and it's home of Fanfare X. It's also the home of many national conferences, such as the National Teachers Conference and religious conferences. The building is LEED certified, so on top it has the capabilities of engulfing in over 300,000 gallons of rainwater. And that water is used to supply for its restrooms and for its atriums inside. And for those who are wanting to get off at the Country Music Hall of Fame, this would be the stop for you here. Before I talk about what's inside of the Country Music Hall of Fame, if you would look to your right-hand side, you would notice a sign that says Hatch Show Print. Hatch Show Print was one of the first hatch print operations in the U.S. They first was located near the Ryman Auditorium. But Hatch Show Print was designed for Reverend Henry Beecher Ford. And they produced prints for Ford and the local Brotherhood congregations. Now it's owned by Country Music Hall of Fame, and they actually give you a tour inside. As a part of the tour, you get to take home with you a restriped poster done of one of your favorite past artists and even present day artists. Shape of a 1950s Cadillac fan. The Hall of Fame has 3 floors. The first floor is free to get inside. The other 2 floors lined with audio stalls and flat screens where you can listen and look at the progression of country music from its start with folk singing and clogging to present day country music. At the very top, or at least on the second level, you'll see that the windows resemble piano keys, and from an aerial view the roof takes the shape of a big bass clef. On the left-hand side, we have the downtown Hilton, and at the top floor in the penthouse is Little Richard. He's actually residing in the penthouse. He's about 84 years old this year, and he retired from the music scene about 4 years ago. On the left-hand side is the Skirmer Symphony Center. This is home of Nashville Symphony, and they have many concerts held here as well. Last night they had a concert for Boys to Men. We're on the way to stop number 4. Before we get there, on the right-hand side, you'll see the entrance for the John Siegenthaler Bridge. And if you're facing the bridge, at 2nd Avenue on the right side, you can access it with elevators. And on the left side of the bridge at 2nd, you can access it by stairs. Now, stop 4 is a stop for Johnny Cash Museum and the Goo Goo Store. Goo Goo is on the right-hand side and is the first combination candy bar ever. It's described as a roundish mound of chocolate covering peanuts, caramel, and nougat. And if you went inside, it would give you a good idea as to how the candy clusters are formulated. Once you're visiting Goo Goo, you can walk straight across the street to the Johnny Cash Museum. Inside of that museum, you'll find the most memorabilia that you can find for Johnny Cash in the U.S., such as the first guitar that he played with as a child to the last one he performed with on stage. It also is lined with audio stalls where you can listen to the gold and platinum hits the artist once had. to make this next left and we'll be back on Broadway. Broadway also has a nickname, the Honky Tonk Highway. One of the more famous places here on the Honky Tonk Highway will be Tootsie's Orchid Lounge. Tootsie Best bought the place in 1960 and named it Mom's at the time. But Tootsie hired a thrifty contractor at that time. The building was needing renovations, and to save money, the contractor mixed together remnants of paint, and that's what gave it its orchid hue. Tootsie wasn't bothered with it. She went with the flow and renamed it Tootsie's Orchid Lounge. But Tootsie was best for slipping $5 and $10 bills inside of struggling artists' pockets. Some of those artists can be found with a drawing or art on display in the front of Tootsie's, but to name a few would be Patsy Cline and Chris Christopherson. Those artists would then gain popularity and be invited to perform at the Grand Ole Opry when they were operating at the Ryman Auditorium. If you would look straight ahead to the left, you would notice a sign that says Merchants Restaurant and Grill. This was once the Merchants Hotel up until about 1970. And this hotel at that time catered to those who performed at the Grand Ole Opry show. To name a few of them would be George Jones and Patsy Cline. Found on the right-hand side currently is 3 levels. One is a rooftop. Right next to Tootsie's is Legends Corner. And Legends Corner was strictly for the patrons of the Ryman Auditorium at the Grand Ole Opry show up until about 1974. Nowadays, especially on the weekend, an artist after they've had a concert could drop in at any time and Legends and perform a song or two. You will notice to the right the historic alley sign. Those who performed at the Grand Ole Opry would then exit the Ryman and hang out at Tootsie's underneath the historic alley sign is where they would enter in. And those who need stop 5, this would be stop number 5 for the Ryman Auditorium. You all have a good one. 283 stop 5. I currently have 21 seats. If you look to the right, you'll notice a sidewalk for the Ryman Auditorium. Currently, they use it and they have backstage tours inside. And they also have a dining area in the front side there as well. The Grand Ole Opry show operated here from the years of about 1943 up until about 1974. The building fell to the wayside for a little bit until in 1974, Emmylou Harris and her band, the Nash Ramblers, launched, if you will, a Save the Ryman campaign, where she and other artists and the city, they raised enough money to bring renovations to the once Mother Church of Nashville. Nowadays, besides the backstage tours that they offer, they also have iconic concerts. In March, Dolly Parton was here to perform. In October, it's yet to be revealed who the artists will come for that iconic concert yet to be held. On the right-hand side is the Downtown Presbyterian Church. And This is where President Andrew Jackson was a member of the congregation, and on the stairs that we passed, he was presented a ceremonial sword. This church also served as a hospital for Union soldiers during the Civil War. Now straight ahead on the left, you'll notice a sign that says Puckett's. Puckett serves staples such as meat and threes. And a meat and three is simply a meat and three vegetables, and in the South, macaroni and cheese is a vegetable. Now Puckett's has a movable attraction named after Dolly Parton called Trolley Party that can be tracked on Twitter. Their roots come out of Leaper's Fort, which is about 45 minutes from downtown Nashville. But they've been around for a little over 50 years, going on 60 years now. Now, Nashville's first established mall, actually established in 1903, can be found on the right-hand side. You'll notice the green awning that has arcade on it. At the time, the population of Nashville was about 140,000 when the mall opened up, and about 40,000 people came out to support its opening and ribbon-cutting ceremony. Straight ahead of us, past the light on the left, is the Tennessee State Museum. And for those who would like a little bit more history about Tennessee, that's definitely the place to go. The museum is rather large. It's broken up in different categories, has different floors to it. And the museum is free. Inside, back in May, they change on what's on display at time to time, but back in May they had the findings of a 1972 tiger fang on display. And it was found during a 1971 excavation for a skyscraper. And the findings of that fang gave them the idea to name the Nashville Predators hockey team Predators. Now, adjacent to the Tennessee State Museum is TPAC, and we'll stop in front of it. If you would notice the banners that are on the side, it gives you an idea as to what events that they host. But it's home of Nashville Repertory and Nashville Ballet. Now, on the left-hand side is the 5-star Hermitage Hotel. In the mid-1900s, it operated as a 4-star hotel. And people such as Gene Autry would frequent there, to name a few, and they would provide a room for his horse Champion as well. And also Al Capone.
Quite a range.
Hey, you guys are gray line. Yeah, there's a red and green trolley. Yeah. So they'll be coming around, but you're with me. Kind of confusing time to time. How you doing?
I'm good.
Inside of TPAC, or Tennessee Performing Arts Center to our right, they have a host of events that happen here as well, such as comedy concerts. And they have musical plays as well. Last year, I went in to see the Nutcracker. I consider myself to be a tough guy until last year. I played football for about 12 years. But one tougher than I am grabbed me by the ear, and that's when we went in to see the Nutcracker. And I can actually say that now that I'm in my 40s, I think I'm softening up. Now, the first home for the Grand Ole Opry is on the left-hand side. They started here in their beginnings in and around 1916 and operated here to almost 1942. Now that's a war memorial, and is dedicated to those 3,400 soldiers who lost their lives in World War I. Also to local fallen firemen and police officers. Now straight ahead to the left is the Tennessee State Capitol. And this capitol here is positioned at the highest point in downtown Nashville. This is one of 12 capitols to be built in the U.S. without a dome. And the construction started in 1845 and it ended in 1859, but it was delayed due to Civil War. And William Strickland, he died about 5 years before it was completed. On his dying wish, he was wanting to be buried in the wall, so they honored that and buried him in the northeast wall near the fireplace. Now, the statue to our left is of President James K. Polk. He and his wife, Sarah Childers, are buried on the ground as well. William Strickland was a busy engineer around town. Another building that took his design is coming up straight past the light on the right. It's the St. Mary's of the Seven Sorrows Catholic Church. And currently it's the oldest operating church in downtown Nashville. Starting home for Country Music Awards. They started here in about 1960. They've had many concerts held here as well, such as the Rolling Stones, Guns N' Roses, and the Michael Jackson concert. And the artists, if you look to the right, typically will come in through this roll-up black bay door here. Now, the Municipal is a complimentary piece to Nashville being named the Music City. Over the past 30 years, we've progressed into being named the Music City, and this place honors in concert from different genres of music. The Musicians Hall of Fame operate in that same fashion. Those that are inducted are from many different genres and voted on by the musicians themselves. And this is stop number 7. Now, straight ahead to the right-hand side, you would notice a giant black guitar. And that's actually the scoreboard for the Nashville Sounds AAA baseball team here. They opened up this stadium last year in April, but the Sounds has been playing in Nashville since 1978, once operating at Grizz Stadium. Now, the scoreboard, as I mentioned, is a guitar. Their logo is a guitar pick, and their mascot is Booster, a big red rooster. Now, if you'll notice to your right-hand side, we have the News Channel 5 network. And the reason for me mentioning is because Oprah Winfrey actually got a start in media television there as anchor. And also she was fired there as anchor. The relationship kind of bubbled over, didn't work out. But Oprah moved here from Mississippi, where she was born at the age of 13 due to an abusive relationship at home, to live with her father here in Nashville. She grew up in East Nashville, right over the river, and graduated from East High School. And East is pretty proud of Oprah. They have on display one of the desks that she sat at, and strangely on display is a gum underneath the desk. So we're on the way to our stop number 8, which is the Bicentennial and the Farmers Market. As we drive through, the farmers market has been closed off for the last week here. As we drive through, I'll point out a couple of things that probably would interest you. Starting out, you can actually walk the state of Tennessee in about 10 minutes, and that's due to, on our left-hand side, this 200-foot wide granite map of the state. Inside of it is 95 counties for Tennessee. Also, looking to the left, you'll notice the fountains. There are 31 of these fountains representing the 31 riverways of Tennessee. A better look at the Simon Stadium on our right-hand side. And if I didn't mention, they're affiliated with the Major League team, Oakland A's. If you would start looking to your right-hand side, this is our amphitheater. This amphitheater replicates the Epidaurus amphitheater. The one in Epidaurus actually seats 20,000 and this one seats 2,000.